Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Ofen Bruce. Today is 17th March 2020. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how an interpreter translates news, public speech into another foreign language. For example, translate English into Chinese. As we all know, an interpreter usually is set in an isolated black small house with customized special devices and equipment which help them to translate, to focus on task they are going to translate. So later I will show you how to translate English into Chinese. I'm sorry that I don't have my earphone in my room, so I have to open the TV and translate English into Chinese. The way that translate the English into Chinese, the distract my concentration. If I don't have an earphone in my house, usually an interpreter wear the earphone and listen to the speech. Okay, this is the best way to help them to concentrate the task. But today I don't have earphone, but I have to open my TV. I listen to the outdoor speaker. Meanwhile, I also speak in Chinese. I know it will distract my concentration. Okay, but I have to try. Let's open YouTube. This is YouTube channel. As you can see, this is YouTube channel. I installed a VPN in my computer, so this is live, and released 10 hours ago. Coronavirus outbreak. Trump issued new guideline to help slow the virus spread in U.S. This is the news. So let me try. I don't have an earphone, plug into the TV, plug into the cell phone, but I have to try. Listen to the news and translate English into Chinese simultaneously. Well, this is a challenge for me.早上好。非常感谢大家来到这里。我已经和 G7 联合会的成员已经探讨过了。那是一个非常有效的会面。今天下午我们将会宣布一个政策，让所有的全国美国人民在接下来的15天都要一起去遵守。那为了就是阻止那么新型的冠状病毒在传播，那我们在美国有很多人才。Dr. Bird 那么将会在发言在。那么现在已经有多种方式去检测他们的症状，去分离这种病毒。那白宫呢，每天都在实时更新的最新的关于冠状病毒的消息。那么在如此短时间内，那么一种新型的方式已经被医生博士 Dr. Bird 已经实施当中。我们永远在你们身后支持你们。 那么我们将会实施一条新型的规则，将会在旅行禁令，超过10人以上聚会，在酒吧将会禁止这些活动的举行。我们将会将新型冠状病毒击败。那么几周之前，我们也有很多的方式措施已经实施当中了。那么这是一个在历史上伟大的举措，以前从未实施过。那么早期的成果已经向大家证实了，我们正在有序的进行这场战斗。我们将会采取必要的措施，一切措施去阻止。Dr. Burns 将会继续为大家带来最新的报道。非常感谢总统。在上个月我们采取了多项措施去阻止新型冠状病毒的蔓延。我们获得了更多的时间去做更多有效的必要的措施。我们已经知道什么已经实施，什么已经有效。我们早期告诉大家一定要洗手，或者你有呕吐的症状，一定要去医院。如果有人在家中感染了这种病毒的话，那么整家的人都要采取隔离措施。那么我们已经知道这种病毒已经在没有发生早期症状的情况下已经开始传播。如果你的孩子生病了，那么一定要待在家中。那每一个家庭成员都有职责去保护他们。那么我们希望在这个严峻的时刻，每个人都能够采取有效的隔离措施，保持距离。那么在如此艰巨的时刻，我们有你们，那么非常有着坚韧意志力的美国人民。那么呢，我们的美国人民，他是细节导向，他们非常认真工作，将会打好这场战役。这场战役没有出现在战役这个单词没有出现啊。我们是一个国家、一个民族，打好这场战役，去阻止新型冠状病毒。
Thank you very much, Dr. Burks. So just to connect with what I mentioned to you in previous discussions in this room, and Dr. Burks said it very well, that in order to be able to contain and curtail this epidemic to not reach its maximum capability, we have a two.
为了更好的阻止这场新型冠状病毒的爆发。
Very effective in preventing the substantial seeding.
那么我们也实施了很多有效的措施，包括连续不断的采取一些旅行禁令。那么最近一段时间，不单单是美国，包括全世界都有开始了这个新型冠状病毒的爆发。那我们已经看到了。在美国以外的其他国家，不好意思啊，现在是连着外网，所以说肯定会在线实时播放，肯定会有卡顿的，大家一定要理解。
So I'm glad to see that you're practicing social distancing. That looks very nice. That's very good. I want to thank everybody for being here today. This morning I spoke with the leaders of the G7 nations, and they really had a good meeting. I think it was a very, very productive meeting. I also spoke with our nation's governors. And this afternoon we're announcing new guidelines for every American to follow over the next 15 days as we combat the virus. Each and every one of us has a critical role to play in stopping the spread and transmission of the virus. We did this today. This was done by a lot of very talented people, some of whom are standing with me, and that's available. And Dr. Birx will be speaking about that in just a few minutes. It's important for the young and healthy people to understand that while they may experience milder symptoms, they can easily spread this virus, and they will spread it indeed, putting countless others in harm's way. We especially worry about our senior citizens. The White House Task Force meets every day and continually updates guidelines based on the fast-evolving situation that this has become all over the world. It's all over the world. It's incredible what's happened in such a short period of time. On the guidelines of the task force, the new modeling conducted by Dr. Birx, and our consultation with governors, we've made the decision to further toughen the guidelines and blunt the infection now. We'd much rather be ahead of the curve than behind it, and that's what we are. Therefore, my administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts. If everyone makes this change or these critical changes and sacrifices now, we will rally together as one nation, and we will defeat the virus, and we're going to have a big celebration all together. With several weeks of focused action, we can turn the corner and turn it quickly. A lot of progress has been made. I'm also pleased to report today that a vaccine candidate has begun the phase 1 clinical trial. This is one of the fastest vaccine development launches in history, not even close. We're also racing to develop antiviral therapies and other treatments, and we've had some promising results, early results, but promising, to reduce the severity and the duration of the symptoms. And I have to say that our government is prepared to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, we're doing. We're doing it in every way. And with that, I'd like to just introduce Dr. Birx, who's going to discuss some of the things that we strongly recommend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think you know over the last months we've taken very bold action to stop the virus from coming to our shores. And because of that, we gained time to really get together and understand the progress across the globe of what has worked and what hasn't worked. We now need to appeal to every single American so that they can have their role in stopping the spread of this virus. We've talked about things before about washing your hands, but we really want to focus on if you are sick, no matter who you are, please stay home. If someone in your household is diagnosed with this virus, the entire household should quarantine in the house to prevent spread of the virus to others. The reason we're taking these strong and bold steps is because we know there is virus spread before you develop symptoms, and then we know that there's a large group, we don't know the precise percent yet, that actually is asymptomatic or has such mild cases that they continue to spread the virus. If your children are sick, please keep them home. Now to our older population or those with pre-existing medical conditions, everyone in the household needs to focus on protecting them. Everyone in the household. I want to speak particularly to our largest generation now, our millennials. I have the mom of 2 wonderful millennial young women who are bright and hardworking, and I will tell you what I told to them. They are the core group that will stop this virus. They are the group that communicates successfully independent of picking up a phone. They intuitively know how to contact each other without being in large social gatherings. We're asking all of them to hold their gatherings to under 10 people, not just in bars and restaurants, but in homes. We really want people to be separated at this time. To be able to address this virus comprehensively that we cannot see, for which we don't have a vaccine or a therapeutic. The only thing we have right now is the amazing ingenuity and compassion of the American people. We're appealing to all Americans to take these steps, to protect each other, and to ensure that the virus doesn't spread. These guidelines are very specific, they're very detailed. They will only work if every American takes this together to heart and responds as one nation and one people to stop the spread of this virus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Birx. So just to connect with what I mentioned to you in previous discussions in this room, and Dr. Birx said it very well, that in order to be able to contain and curtail this epidemic to not reach its maximum capability, we have a two-pillar approach, one of which I believe has been very effective in preventing the substantial seeding, and namely the travel restrictions that we've discussed many times in this room. The other, equally, if not more important, is when you have infection in your own country, which we do, and I could read the numbers, but they're really essentially what we've seen yesterday, incremental increases both globally as well as in the United States with the curve doing that. So therefore, the kinds of things that we do are containment and mitigation. What we're mentioning now, the guidelines, when you look at them carefully, I believe if the people in the United States take them seriously, because they were based on some rather serious consideration back and forth. Some may look at them and say they're going to be really inconvenient for people. Some will look and say, well, maybe we've gone a little bit too far. They were well thought out. And the thing that I want to re-emphasize, and I'll say it over and over again, when you're dealing with an emerging infectious diseases outbreak, you are always behind where you think you are if you think that today reflects where you really are. That's not word speak. It means if you think you're here, you're really here because you're only getting the results. Therefore, it will always seem that the best way to address it would to be doing something that looks like it might be an overreaction. It isn't an overreaction. It's a reaction that we feel is commensurate, which is actually going on in reality. So take a look at the guidelines, read them carefully, and we hope that the people of the United States will take them very seriously because they will fail if people don't adhere to them. We have to have, as a whole country, cooperate and collaborate to make sure these get done. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. President, a lot of people are concerned about how long all of this might last. Do you have any kind of estimate that if Americans really were to band together and do what the White House is suggesting, how quickly you could turn this corner?
My favorite question, I ask it all the time. How many times, Anthony? I think I ask him that question every day, and I speak to Deborah, I speak to a lot of them. I get the opinion. So it seems to me that if we do a really good job, we'll not only hold the death down to a level that is much lower than the other way, had we not done a good job. But people are talking about July, August, something like that. So it could be right in that period of time where I say it washes through. Other people don't like that term, but where it washes through.
So is this the new normal until the height of the summer?
We'll see what happens, but they think August, could be July, could be longer than that. But I've asked that question many, many times. Yes?
That being said, Mr. President, Americans today and looking forward are living with so much anxiety and so much fear facing uncertainty right now. I'm curious, how are you talking to your own family about this? How are you talking to your youngest son? Do you empathize with this sense of anxiety?